There's something I'd like you to remember about how the crime happened. Wasn't the cause of the gas explosion a lighter we found in the kitchen? I don't see how that explosion would have happened unless Ritzy was the one to start it. Oh, yeah. Back then, it could have only been Ritsu. We were all together. If the explosion was started by that lighter, then only Ritsu could have done it. We certainly did find a lighter left behind, but the cause of the explosion with the lighter? Can we really say that? If we were to question that, was there anything else left behind? This hot plate left behind at the crime scene? Why is it all charred? I can barely tell what it was. Yeah. Incidentally, this hot plate was off to the side in that room. And near that area, the floor was burned really badly in the corner. Yeah, that's right. That burned corner in the room. We're still not sure why it was so damaged. That's what I'd like to point out. Before the explosion, wasn't Ritsu sitting in the middle of the kitchen with her back to us? If Ritsu had been holding that lighter there, then the center of the explosion would have been in the center of the kitchen. And that part of the floor would have been heavily damaged. But in actuality, the floor in the corner of the room was heavily damaged instead. I mean, to say the lighter Ritsu was holding caused the explosion? Wouldn't those conditions be strange? I think what Yukinari means is the cause of the explosion wasn't the lighter, but that hot plate off to the side of the room that caused it? Yeah. But isn't that completely impossible? Hot plates use electricity to heat up. They don't actually create any fire. I thought that nothing besides a spark could ignite gas to explode. No, even a hot plate can create a flame. Huh? How so? Well, first you heat up oil on it, and as you continue to heat it up, it burns. Then, once it reaches a certain temperature, it ignites by itself. Okay, some oil ignited. That's a common way kitchen fires start. That's certainly something you don't need to be in the room to do. Well, that and the gas element. Is a hot plate able to reach that temperature to ignite oil, though? It's possible with this plate. Although I'm unsure whether or not this hot plate is able to start a fire as well. I'd have to look into it more. But I would assume that this hot plate would have to have gone beyond 500 degrees Celsius. That sure is a lot of leeway for a temperature to cause an explosion. So, I guess that means Ritsu couldn't have started the fire with the lighter after all, right? So, doesn't that mean Ritsu's still alive? I am super confused. The chopped up body in the morgue, and the burnt spot on the floor and the charred hot plate. If I can rely on this evidence, then it means that Ritsu did not die in that kitchen. But then, if so, when the explosion happened and Ritsu was not in the kitchen, then one person's actions were very strange now that I think about it. Everyone, I've got a proposal. Ritsu was not in the kitchen when the explosion happened. If we look at that assumption once more, could we figure out the culprit's actions? I was thinking the same thing. First, the culprit, using a chair and her hat, made it look like Ritsu was in the kitchen. Then they readied the oil on the hot plate to ignite, and unplugged the gas pipe. Then they left the room and locked the door from the outside and left. They waited for the gas alarm to start ringing, and then they met up with the rest of us. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. No, what Ko just said about the culprit's actions? Something didn't make sense. What? Didn't make sense? What about what he said didn't make sense? They left the room and locked the door from the outside and left. That's literally impossible. Isn't this the kitchen door? Why the hell are you showing us this? Please, look closer at this door. There's no lock to lock. Huh? There really isn't. I can't even see a keyhole. But I thought the crime scene was a locked room. Maybe not with a key, but what about a pole wedged at the door? No, assuming Ritsu wasn't in the room, it'd be impossible to leave the room after barricading the door like that. Oh yeah, guess so. And if the room is barricaded from the outside, then it's strange that no one noticed. Then how is the kitchen locked then? Wasn't it a locked room? Then doesn't that mean after all that Ritsu was in the kitchen? Which one is it? No, Ritsu definitely wasn't in that kitchen. The culprit this time went through the trouble of getting Aori's dismembered hand and left it in the kitchen. Meaning, they did all this to make it look like Ritsu was dead. Because no one was in that kitchen. They had to make it look like a locked room. I've decided, although I don't really want to say how it was done. To keep us from going through the door to the kitchen, there is only one way to make it look like a locked room. Huh? Really, Yukinari? So, how the heck was it done? How was the locked kitchen room done? They lied about it being a locked room. Most likely, the fact it was a locked room was in itself a lie. The locked room was a lie. Let me all remind you what happened when we first arrived at the scene. When we were all gathered in front of the kitchen, we were told that the door was locked. After that, before anyone could try opening the door, that was when the smell of gas was brought to our attention. By doing that, we were prevented from touching the door. We were all guided to do so by a certain someone. So the person who said the door was locked first was... It was you, right, Chie? Huh? Me? Oh yeah, you did. At that time, you didn't move from your spot, Chie. Nobody else was able to touch that door. And the one who noticed the smell of gas first was also you, Chie. So, we're saying Chie caused that explosion? Please wait. At that time, the door really wouldn't open. Because look, Ritsu was always in there and she barred the door with something. Too bad, Chie. When I was in the player morgue, and I found that chopped up body, the proof Ritsu died in that kitchen no longer existed. More so, Ritsu was never in that room at all. And a locked kitchen door that couldn't be opened from the other side? It's simply impossible. Hold on. If Ritsu is still alive, then aren't we not considering something? What do you mean, Ko? If Ritsu really is the wolf, she could have been in the kitchen and barred the door, making the locked room. And then, before the explosion, she hid somewhere in the kitchen. We knew it was dangerous, so we all ran away. Ritsu then undid the door and fled the kitchen. It's possible. I see. If that's true, then I fell for the whole thing. Then in that case, Ritsu, until now, has been hiding somewhere. There's no way! Huh? What is it now, Chie? Well, that's because Ritsu definitely killed herself. Please, just believe me. Huh? Why are you being so insistent on that point, Chie? Looking at the conditions, Ritsu being alive isn't a problem. Making it look like a suicide? Well, that's suspicious no matter how you look at it. But what Chie just said is really weird. Ritsu definitely killed herself? Why does she keep bringing that up?